since he was in there?
Yeah, I mean, efficient with his pitches. I mean, he was forcing them to swing the bat, and they weren't taking very comfortable swings at all. So the fact he was able to do that, as tight as the game was, kind of gave everybody a sense of comfort that we're not going to be trying to piece together things in crazy fashion. You know, we were able to play a full game, 9 innings, so it was nice we got some guys involved. There's plenty of guys we want to pitch. You'd kind of like to feel like you're joysticking the deal on certain days, and again, fortunately, we were able to kind of maintain that tight score there for a while.
I'm impressed. Teagan not being scared was tonight an example of that.
Yeah, it's a good example. I mean, me and Frank were talking. He kind of comes in laughing and kind of looking at his teammates, and which is fine. I mean, if that's kind of your personality, but you got to go out there and get the job done. And right off the bat, he didn't look sharp at all. And then, you know, kind of where he's probably been at his best since we've known who he is as a pitcher or a kid is kind of when the heat's on a little bit. And the heat was on due to his own self for the most part. But getting out of that was massive. And it's interesting. They put pressure on us. We were just able to keep it to 1 run. Was pretty amazing when you reflect on some of those innings.
It's been contributing to the power here lately for Fisher.
I think just getting settled in. You know, you've probably seen it with other athletes. Some of them ours. Guys come in and you know, they want to put their stamp on things, announce their presence with authority. Would be one way to say it, but you know, he's fully capable of doing about as much as anybody in the country with the bat, as long as he's being himself. But saw him going a little too fast at times earlier in the year. He's not doing that as much. And then also people pitch around him. I mean, part of it is he's got a good eye too, but people know he's a threat, so it's not like they're serving it up.
It's nice for the most part to have a bit of a cleaner game tonight after the kind of start yesterday, to go out there and for the most part, other than a couple moments there, play a clean game.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, you want things to go in a specific direction and do things well. I mean, there was a couple little things that aren't really noticeable to the fans, but went on that weren't good for us. We'll address in practice tomorrow. But I think the biggest thing is you want to end up with a win, or one more run than the other team on the scoreboard. And each game's got its own flow, whether it's 2 pitchers getting a rhythm, or the wind, or you know the turf being wet. There can be a variety of circumstances, and for whatever reason, I don't think tonight was meant to be an explosive offensive night. We just kind of had that 1 inning where things piled up for us a little bit.
Coach, after the championship run, just like any other season, you have a couple of key departures. Have you been surprised by how seamlessly and quickly that these transfers have adjusted and fit in really well?
Not with the kids, you know, that came out of the transfer portal. We've been very careful with that. We don't, you know, we pretty much have just supplemented with those guys. So we're able to take our time and figure out which ones, you know, fit us, and those guys do that. And then with some of the guys exiting, guys like Reese Chapman, I mean, there's only one KT, but there was also only one Jordan Beck. There's been a kind of nice sequence to who the next guy is. So we're blessed the portal guys fit. We're blessed our returners, like Ensley, are doing his thing or emerge into a bigger role and have done so well, like Marcus and Reese. And then we're very, very blessed with some of these freshmen that really like to play, and I've said it before, aren't scared.
And how have you seen these returners welcome these new guys in and build chemistry with them off the bat?
I don't know, because it hasn't been a loud deal. It's, you know, been subtle is the easiest way to say it, but it's been consistent since August. A slow build of them building team chemistry. Last year, to be honest with you, it was just kind of right off the bat, it was like family, you know, and everyone uses that word in recruiting, family. But it ain't true. I've seen and I've been. It ain't true, but this group has had to work for it a little bit more, and I think they're still growing into it.
You see from Crabtree in his start?
Really sharp in the first inning, and I'll tell you what, it's not just him, it's any pitcher, especially when it's not a true start, you know, it's not the big leagues and you expect to go 5 or 6 if you're Max Scherzer, to go back out there and match that same level of intensity and throw every pitch on the screws like he did in the first inning is tough to do. But he was sharp. He just made the one mistake, and the guy put a good swing on it and hit it to the right part of the ballpark for sure.
Earlier, Reese was talking about how sort of the biggest thing for team chemistry here in some ways is everybody having that one mind, that there's kind of the same mindset of what's the priorities here. How did you feel like this team, did you feel like it had an idea of that by the time the season started?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think in the meetings that we've had and the times the team have been together, I think there's a sense of maturity for the program. You know, if that makes sense, over the years we've been building and trying to figure out how to navigate certain things, and I think there's a level of understanding of what the guys want to do, how to do it, what doesn't work, what's acceptable, what's not. So it makes sense that when you're consistent with a company you own or an NBA team or anybody, when there's consistency on who's the staff, who's the support system, you can't have the same player every year because of eligibility, but you can have the same type of player. Like I said, Jordan Beck, Reese Chapman, KT. So I think there's a little bit of that. You said the word earlier, you didn't ask for this, but earlier I was thinking not as big of a group tonight, but I hope I didn't come off. I got cut off last night, so I wasn't trying to offend anybody and say, you know, abrasively, I wonder what you know, but let's just call it what it is. I'm in a position where, first of all, I got my hands full with other stuff, and I'm also not a lawyer, so I literally don't know. It's probably embarrassing how much I don't know, but I hadn't heard a whole lot. And ultimately, decisions come down to, you know, the people that are in charge. Coach Heupel makes the final decision for a football program and stuff like that, but public opinion matters a lot. And that's my first experience here is we switched up what we were doing with the football coach because of public opinion, period. And halfway through, people said the presidency was decided on a guy doing podcasts and adhering to the public opinion. And halfway through here, we had havoc wreaked on our program because someone decides to tweet we're giving a shortstop from Kansas a bunch of money when it's not true. And I think you can find, I'd like to dig up the public record on what he was able to put together for himself because he was a good player here. But everyone decides that's true, and it wreaked havoc. And players left, and team chemistry was hurt, and all kinds of other stuff. And so public opinion can sway you in a negative way or a positive way. And I just haven't heard a lot of that noise. I saw an ESPN article, which that's not local, and someone said Coach Neuheisel had some comments. That's not local. I just don't know if anyone's talked to the kid. If you talk to the kid, people are going to realize, oh, at the very least, we're losing another guy like Kirby that could really be embedded in the program. And oh, maybe the guy went to junior college because he comes from a modest income and, is bilingual. And there's some things there that are a good story. And again, whether it makes an impact or not, I don't know. But that's me defending myself and making sure you're not saying I'm stupid for bunting or something like that, because you guys are entitled to your opinion too. And in sports, it's sway one thing or the other. Like radio shows are so fun. Like, what are they doing taking that guy out? And why did Coach Vitello bring that guy in that? That's what's so fun about sports and what your guys' duty is. But when you talk about public opinion or why our country is so great is because the masses typically are looking out for what's right, what's fair, what's consistent, and what's right. And again, I know how I would attack it if I had a different job. But again, I'm not a lot of things. I'm not a lot of things. That's a whole nother topic too. So I'm not going to go on for 47 minutes about that one. So hopefully that makes sense. And what I cut myself off too in one part, making it right. Hey, I don't have any guilt. We never convinced this kid. He sought out advice from other people and made an educated decision. And I'd like someone to ask him, is he still happy being in here even though he hasn't got an at-bat yet? I'm curious to what that answer is too. He's an interesting kid to talk to, but as far as making it right, that's a very important phrase. That's what I was getting at when we will make sure he gets his money's worth for being here. He wants to be a coach. Our strength coach, Q, immediately took care of that kid when he was crying on the phone with the news he had, and we will make it worth his while. So if you haven't written a story yet, you will write a story when his time is done here, and you'll be able to follow his baseball career because we're going to make sure it goes real, real well after this.
Tony,
Couple more guys.
last weekend before conference play starts, anything specific you're looking for that you maybe hadn't seen yet or you want to tighten up on?
We're going to have to beat a good team. It's different when it's the same team. You should learn things. Last weekend was different too. It's so fun. Fun tournament. But this weekend is a team that has won close games. They've got one big name pitcher, but it's not a one-man staff. They got an entire pitching staff that throws strikes. It's not an SEC household name. If you follow basketball, you certainly know they've made the March Madness bracket before, but they got a really good chance of making a different bracket come May. So to beat a good team is really it, because we've gotten reps and we've moved guys around and everything, and some guys have been banged up and they're out, so other guys got to fill in. So there's plenty we'd like to learn if you really break it all down, but the biggest thing is beat a good team, and the first goal is to win the series.
Have you all decided on whether you'll stick with the same pitching plan?
No, but I know where you're getting at too. That's my other little tangent I thought of earlier today. You guys all want to ask about Russell, and I want you to ask about the other guy. So, well, that's I've already kept you here for a couple extra minutes anyway, so that kid's going to pitch for about 12, 15 more years, so he'll be fine. Another guy's down to literally the last leg, if that's a proper phrase. But now we'll go with what we've been doing, and T-Frank was Xavier. Kudos to them. Radford, same thing. We had T-Frank scrambling around down there. Colmsey, same thing. So fortunately, we're not forced to use those guys. So it'll look similar to going into last weekend, but no weekend's the same. They've all got their own personality and kind of become their own thing, and we got a blank canvas on Friday. We'll see what we can put down on there.
What does it say about Alberto to hear the news on Monday to get over there in the coach's box yesterday?
He wants to coach, and so, he wants to get involved too. If you pay attention, it's kind of like Kirby. One of the reasons why fans really started to fall in love with Kirby first by our dugout, they notice how active he is and how good of a teammate he is. And the kid's got a big heart, and it makes sense. And I don't know, maybe I'll let you be the one. And Vance Honeycutt was, I'm gonna read it to the team first tomorrow. Vance Honeycutt was a center fielder for North Carolina, arguably their best player, All-American kid, All-American player. And we were wavering on how far do we want to go with this thing in recruiting, because there was some uncertainty there. And Drew Beam, who's friends with Vance, asked him about Alberto, and the things he said, if I was Berto, I would take that over a trophy or ring any day of what Honeycutt said about him. To me, that's the ultimate thing, is to be a great teammate, but even better is for someone else to say that you're a great teammate. That goes on a lifetime, and not to be morbid, but it even goes on after your lifetime. Someone will break your home run record if you got that or anything else. So.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Let's go.